Joining us now live from Capitol Hill, Republican Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska, member of the Senate Armed Services Committee and Commerce Committee. Senator, it's great to have you on Bloomberg TV and radio. Day one of a shutdown. I know we've got Yom Kippur tomorrow, and so it's going to be at least a couple of more days here. There's been some interesting conversations this hour with the likes of Jeanne Shaheen, Kevin Cramer, people who seem to want to meet on a solution. And I'm wondering if you see an end to this in the next couple of days, or if this is just a closure that could go on to set another record.
Well, look, I hope it doesn't set another record. Our goal, the Republican goal, is to keep the government open. And let me just say directly, the Schumer shutdown is 100% avoidable. It's really hard to pin down the Democrats on what they want. I've been in discussions, like you just mentioned, with a number of Democrat senators for the past several weeks. And everything that we've kind of said, all right, we can do that, we can do that. They moved the goalposts, and then Schumer shut the government down. There doesn't seem to be a defining reason. I actually think he wanted to shut the government down to atone for the left-wing spanking he got in March when he did the right thing, voted for a continuing resolution, and the far left wing of his party really didn't like it and really bashed him for it. So I think it's more of an atonement.
Yeah, we keep hearing a lot about what happened in March. But, when we talk to some Democrats, like Senator Shaheen, the idea of a guarantee of an up or down vote, for instance, as opposed to just a negotiating session, we'll bring your extension for Obamacare subsidies to the floor. That might dislodge enough Democrats to pass this CR. Would you be in favor of that?
Well, look, what I've been doing for, like I said, more than the last couple of weeks is working with Republicans and Democrats on the idea of, hey, how do you reform those ACA premium tax credits? What would be the amount of time you would extend them? How you would pay for them? It's
Are you not getting answers to that, or?
Well, I think there's a lot of interest in it. But here's the thing: we'll start those negotiations in earnest once we fund the government, right? That's the position of the Republican Party, and. But I think there's a number of areas of common ground on that. So it's an area. The other thing they want is to continue on with appropriations bills to fund the government. We're 100% for that. So again, every time they've asked for something, you may have seen the Majority Leader, John Thune, the Vice President, the other day, both said, yeah, we'll do these negotiations. Let's just fund the government first. So we've kind of done what they've asked for. They keep moving it. The truth is, I won't name names on the Senate floor, there's a lot of Senate Democrats who are frustrated with their leader.
Well, okay, so that said, we saw 3 Democrats vote last evening. You know, maybe you're talking to some of these Democrats. You don't need more than, what do you need, 3 or 4 more, and we're not even having a conversation anymore here. Is that a more likely scenario than creating a deal on Obamacare subsidies to dislodge 3 more Democrats?
I think it takes courage for them, the senators who did that, to cross their leader. But I could see a jailbreak scenario where you get a lot more Senate Democrats, and here's why. I think many in their side of the aisle are seeing this is more about personal politics for Schumer to protect his own personal left flank, because he's worried about people primarying him and things. He knows that people are upset about him.
Do you talk to Chuck Schumer? Do you know all of that, or are you just hearing that like we are? When it comes to AOC and all the rest of it, it seems to be dominating.
I haven't asked Chuck Schumer if he's doing this because he's worried.
How do you know what's motivating him then?
Well, I think if you watch what's going on, they're not asking for anything, right? Look, the one thing they asked for, and we gave them this, they wanted to vote on their own bill. Nobody thinks that's a serious bill. $1.4 trillion over the next 4 weeks. It would completely gut one of the hallmarks of the budget reconciliation bill on the Republican side, and for Democrats, which was the Rural Hospital Transformation Fund, $50 billion. That's going to be huge for Alaska. I played a key role on that. So they're not being serious, but when you ask them what they want, they don't know. I think Schumer actually wanted a shutdown to atone for his left-wing sins in March, and hopefully.
Said that,
No, but I think that's pretty common knowledge.
A lot of Democrats say that President Trump...
That's why Democrats are upset with him.
I understand your point. A lot of folks say President Trump wants a shutdown because it would give him the opportunity to unleash Russ vote.
Yeah, I don't think
lay off mass numbers of federal workers. Well, it was in the memo, right? Was that a negotiating tactic?
I don't know what that was, if that was a negotiating tactic
Is that
or
a
not.
bad idea or a good one?
Well,
a lot of people think that we should be firing bureaucrats in Washington.
At a certain point, if a shutdown goes really, really long,
yes,
then the OMB director has to look at those hard choices.
Right.
But look, in my discussions, I've had a lot of discussions with the administration. Nobody wants a shutdown. We don't want a shutdown. Republicans are united in the House, in the Senate, in the White House. And by the way, it's not just Republicans. You got to remember, Joe, the House vote and now the Senate vote is a bipartisan vote to pass a clean CR. The Schumer shutdown, again, 100% avoidable. And his party, his members, I'm not naming names because they're friends of mine, they're getting frustrated.
You got to tell me off the air. We'll start calling
I don't even think I can do that either.
How concerned are you that federal workers go from furlough to layoffs, or is that the point? Do you want to see the bureaucracy whittled down more than the Doge could do?
No, I don't want to see the bureaucracy. I mean, look, our federal workers, our military, our VA folks, they do really important work. In Alaska, they do hugely important work. That should not be the goal. And remember, when people are asking, well, what do you want? We want the government funded. And it's simple. When you do a clean CR, that's normally the best way to continue because it doesn't choose sides. This is just continuation, by the way, of Biden-era spending that we did when President Biden was in office 13 different times. Republicans passed clean CRs, and the fact that they're now saying they won't do it is more driven by left-wing politics and Schumer's own personal issues with his party than it is by any conviction that we're still trying to, what is this about? Why are you doing it? 100% avoidable. The Schumer shutdown needs to be cleared up real fast.
You guys got to get bumper stickers or hats or something.
You know, I heard he doesn't like it being called that, but the truth hurts.
You're going to vote again Friday.
Yes.
You're going to vote all weekend?
We'll see what the leadership does, but we'll have another vote, and hopefully we get some more Democrats. Again, I was having some good discussions with Democrat senators on the floor today when we were voting, and I hope there's a jailbreak where we see a bunch of them start to vote for this clean CR. They all know it's the right thing to do. We've done it when we've been in the minority. And I think that's why you're seeing this frustration.
Well, let's hope that there's some more optimism in the air as more days go by, Senator. It's great to have you with us as part of our conversation. That's, of course, Republican Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska.